given that 3.0 is rumoured to be out this year, and why you're not more bullish on it.
Oh, I am. Yeah, So first of all, I've always been keen on Neo, and I still am. And what I did so on the 12th of Jan, when I implemented my new Kryptonian portfolio, I bought a whole bunch of gas in order to do the gas Neo play, because it was really undervalued. And what happened is gas has gone. So I effectively, in fact, let's just double check. I'm opening up TradingView as we speak. It's actually, gas has been the best performing crypto of the whole portfolio. So I bought gas at $1.70, and as we speak right now, it's at $12. It peaked at $17. Nice. Yeah. So what's happened is that it's like, what is that, 10x at least. So to put it in real numbers, because I'm basically, as you know, I'm trying to get gas so I can get more Neo, because I'm playing that seesaw. But in real numbers, if right now if I sold all my gas into US dollars, I would end up with something like $14,000. So yeah, I bought $1,600 of gas. It's now $14,000. And if I then put that gas into Neo right now, it would end up being an $18,000 trade, basically. So yeah, I'm still keen on Neo, because Neo is like $38 right now.
Okay, so I might have missed that. I think you talked about how bullish you are on Ethereum, that was all, and I weren't sure if you'd kind of let Neo lie for a bit longer or whether you were doing both at the same time, so I just must have missed that.
Yeah, but I'm waiting until gas is half the price of Neo, and at the moment it's at 30% of the price.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
No, really useful. Thanks for that, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, here we
I'll
go.
something on today's chat, though, so leave that with me and I'll come back to you.
Yeah. Right, folks. Those on Facebook and on Clubhouse, today what we're going to talk about are the pros and cons of subscription-based businesses. Earlier today I was on a M&A group chat with a whole bunch of people, and I shared a few bits and bobs on subscription-based stuff, and I think it was sort of overlooked. And I think it's a really good topic, because there's a lot of pitfalls to subscription-based businesses which a lot of people aren't privy to or aren't aware of when they first get in. And I I just stumble headfirst into every problem I can find. I seem to attract them, but I'm getting good at bashing away problems. So before I sort of get into that, does anyone have any particular questions on subscription-based businesses?
Are you talking about subscription-based like WAP, or are you talking about kind of anything subscription-based, or let's say specific piece of software?
Anything. Yeah, absolutely anything. Anything where a client or a customer is, paying a company on a regular basis. Technically, that's a subscription.
Okay, well, I guess my first question would be then, which type of subscription business would you say is most successful or more reliable from a valuation perspective?
Definitely actually, there's caveats with everything. I was about to say business to business, so B2B businesses, but then again, it depends on the scale. So I guess unless you're doing massive numbers, I would say B2B, because typically your clients will be obviously other businesses. There'll be chunkier payment plans or subscriptions every month, but the thing is, on the flip side of that, you then look at a company like Netflix or Amazon Prime or any of these other sort of subscription-based businesses. They're worth, they're the most profitable businesses on the planet because they have scale. But I guess for today, I'm going to keep things, low to the ground, because that's where we all operate. In fact, there could be some Billy Big Balls in here listening today. But when I say low to the ground, I typically play with businesses between £0 to £2 million earnings, which, in the grand scheme of things, is absolute small fry. And I'm happy with that. I absolutely love playing around in the small fry zone. One day I'd like to go and do a big IPO and do like a 9-10 figure business, but there's more hassle than the glory it brings. So I guess if you're the problem, okay, let's just get into this. So let's look at the cons of a subscription based business, because I think this will probably indirectly answer that question. So the first thing that a lot of people won't understand is that if you're getting into sort of if you're like an expert in your niche, whether it be property or knitting or whatever, you will become so incredibly busy, more busier than any other business model, because what happens is that you become the central focus of that business. So let's take me for the realistic trader. I guess I am the head trader there, and people, yeah, they join for the community and stuff like that, but essentially people join because of you. And what you then have are constant streams of, this is a good and a bad thing, but you have constant streams of questions from your students, which is good. That's exactly what you want, because you want engagement in a subscription-based business like that. But you then have endless amounts of questions and emails and direct messages from lots of random people. And so you spend your life just answering messages and giving out so much free help and free stuff. It's ridiculous. Like I spend probably 50% of my time replying to random strangers because they've like divulged their whole life story and they're in need of some help or whatever. And when someone literally dumps an essay of, you know, pain and sorrow and woe is me type stuff on you, only a douchebag would just like go just ignore it and not reply. And so I guess I'm a bit of a softie. I literally reply to everyone. Which is a massive time whore. In the past, I did try and, you know, say, look, I can only, you know, reply to my students, but then it looks like, yeah, and then people kick off and rah. So yeah, you're always going to be in demand. So that's one of the cons. What else is there? Oh God, there's loads of cons. I think questions from you guys will probably bring them up. Let's balance that con with a pro. So one of the biggest pros with subscription-based businesses is that your exit multiple is going to be great. So when I say an exit multiple, basically whenever you sell a business, again, remaining in the small fry zone, a typical business will be worth anywhere between 2 to 3 times earnings. So if a business does 100 grand profit a year, that business owner will most likely be able to sell it for 200 grand to 300 grand if it's just a normal business. But if that is a business with recurring revenue, like subscriptions, payment plans, etc., your base level starts at 5 times. So if a subscription-based business is, you know, doing 100 grand profit a year, that they can feasibly sell that for 500 grand, which is great because you're basically getting 5 years worth of profit up front. And some people think, well, that doesn't make sense. How so? Well, just flip the whole thought experiment to the other side. Let's say you are an investor, you have a big chunk of money just sat around eroding a hole in your pocket due to inflation and currency printing and all that sort of malarkey, and you've got, let's say, 500 grand sat in a bank account. Now, let's say and a lot of people struggle to make an ROI. Some people go, oh, screw it, I'll just put it in some ISA or whatever, and they'll struggle to make 5% per year. Now let's say you've got a business that pops along and says, hey, do you want to buy my business for 500 grand? It's going to chuck out 100 grand a year profit, net profit. So let's do the calculation. 100, divide that by 500 equals 20%. So straight away for the buyer, they're making 20% per year ROI, which is a great deal for most people out there. So this is why when I say it starts at 5 times earnings, that's for that reason. So what you could do is, you know, if a business is doing, you know, 100 grand a year profit and you try and sell for $1 million, again, you're going to have a lot of conversations because not everyone will buy that. But whoever does buy your business for £1 million is already from day one making 10% yield, which is great. And that's assuming that business stays flat and doesn't grow. And obviously anyone that's going to buy a business, they're obviously expecting to grow the business, etc. So your exit multiple is critical there. However, I think, how many do we have here? We've got a bunch of people here. This is the most important point that I can make about subscription-based businesses. Literally, and by the way, I currently run, out of my whole group, 5 of my businesses are subscription/recurring revenue businesses. So, and I've been doing this for 10 years or so. So I have extreme hindsight when it comes to these types of businesses. The main problem is you should not do a subscription-based business. Okay, this sounds really counterintuitive. Okay, it's like, what? Everyone talks about subscription. So there's a little caveat and a nuance here. You do not want a subscription-based business. You want a payment plan business. It's critical. So here's the nuance or the caveat. A subscription-based business means someone is set up a standing order or a direct debit with you, and they are free to leave whenever they want. So when you do all the hard work and then you get a new customer or a client, you have no idea how long that person's going to be with you. They could be there for a month. They could be there for 5 years. You literally do not know. Now, obviously, if you're massively underpricing and underpromising and hugely over-delivering, it's highly likely that that client's going to be with you for years. But obviously, when you're first starting out, you don't know. You really don't know what your average lifetime value of a customer is. So you literally have to do and wait for a couple of years, and then you can look back and go, okay, what is the average lifetime of my clients? And the problem with a subscription-based business and a subscription-based customer is really recouping the marketing costs. Because let's say you've got a business and someone's paying you 10 quid a month, okay? I'm ignoring gross profits, net profits. Let's just say 10 quid a month they're paying you. Or no, let's say it's 10 quid a month profit you're getting from a customer. And let's just say your marketing cost, it's costing you about £50 to get that customer. Well, straight away, you need to hope that that customer stays with you for 5 months just to break even. Now, if your product is shit or your client UI and UX is shit, then and they leave before 5 months, well, guess what? You've got a losing business. You have a business that is bleeding money, and you may not notice it at first because you may have a big influx of clients, and you'll be doing the do, and then 6 months later you realise, oh my lord, I've just scaled a losing business, and now I'm losing even more money. So you really don't want subscription-based businesses. It's okay for someone like Netflix, and they don't have to tie people into contracts and stuff like that because they have scale. They have huge budgets, they've got huge cash buffers, and they have scale. But if you're setting up a brand new business from scratch, and you're spending a lot of time and money getting your first chunk of clients, your first 100 customers, and then they all leave within 3 months, you're going to lose a lot of money. And I've done this. I know this from pure heartache. So, what is the fix to this? The fix to this is to have a payment plan business. So what this means is that people are paying for a whole year up front, or for 6 months up front, or whatever period you want. So if you take the WAP, the whole reason I'm doing these chats is for the WAP. And so the WAP is £30 per month times 12. So basically, if you join the WAP, it's a 1 month, it's a year contract. So you either pay 300 quid up front, and then you get, and there's a bit discount in that, or you can pay monthly, which is £30 a month, but it's times 12. You're in a one year contract. And I know that it may seem like it's going to put some people off, and it probably will. But at the end of the day, you don't really want price sensitive clients. If you have clients which are pulling up their giving you a stank face at 30 quid a month, you really don't want them as a client, because they can't. That means there's two things. One, you haven't conveyed the amount of value in your value proposition to them, so they just don't know how valuable and how underpriced 30 quid a month is for what you're getting in the WAP. Or two, they're just not prioritizing wealth generation as part of their life. Just like I am the worst customer for health based stuff, just because I really don't. I'm fully aware of how important it is, but at the moment it's very low on my priority list at the moment, even though I know it should be at the top of my list. So so I guess just a quick recap on what I just said. You need a payment plan business, because that way when you have a customer, you've got them for at least a year, and so then you need to ensure that you're spending less than a year's worth of profits, if that makes sense. So Adam had his hand up. Did you have anything to add or ask, mate?
I've got a question for you. It's not strictly on what you've just said.
Yeah.
It's not on cryptos, don't worry. If I compare, I'm going to take 3 businesses. My business, realistic trader, and my fairy pen pal. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fairly similar to realistic trader in the sense that if I try to sell it, well, people want me. And with Realistic Trader, I think they want you. That's my perception.
Yep.
With My Fairy Pen Pal, they don't know who's behind it.
Correct.
So it's more saleable. So how do you get out of a business that is subscription-based or payment plan or whatever it is, however you want to define it, and I get the differences. How do you get out of it when people are buying you, the person?
It's a cracking question. So if you have a payment plan business or a subscription-based business where there's no head figure where people evolve around, like you and your business, etc., or potentially me and my business or definitely me with RT, it is harder to sell, because if you do sell it, there's no doubt going to be like an earn out process where you have to stay on board for the next 2 years whilst they do like a 2-year phase out of you. So if you do sell it, it's going to be a lengthy period of time. Whereas if, My Fairy Pen Pal, when we eventually sell that, there probably won't be any of that. So if you want to get your business tarted up and ready to sell, what you need to do is start getting in other people that would effectively replace you. So let's take the Realistic Trader. Let's say I wanted to sell it, which I'm not going to. What I would do is I would find 5 different traders who are all very good, but I would ensure that there will be a mix of boy and girl traders and a complete mix of personalities. Okay, so basically there will be a personality that's at least if you're a new trading student, there'll be at least one of the mentors that you could get along with better or relate with better, etc. And so I would effectively make my the A team, the Avengers of traders or whatever, where I would just be like and I'd slowly be a quieter and quieter and quieter figurehead, to the point where any questions that come in, I'd be like, John, Lucy, yeah. And so if those 5 people then suddenly very active in the group, and they're answering, doing live sessions and doing live trading and all that, and basically do everything I'm doing, before you know it, RT is completely Siam less. Yes, the courses are all still with me, or in fact, you can even bleed out the amount of videos of you in your courses. But it's a lot harder to sort of get rid of yourself. But yeah, like with My Fairy Pen Pal, no one knows who's behind it, and it's much easier to sell. And so let's take My Fairy Pen Pal. For those of you not familiar, My Fairy Pen Pal is again subscription-based business. It's not a payment plan; it's a subscription-based business. And for £15 a month, Aria the fairy sends a letter to little girls between the age of 4 and 9. Little girls and gifts. Letters and gifts every 2 weeks. And the feedback from it is awesome. So if we sold that, it would most likely be to a company with a huge list, like a huge list of mothers, basically. I don't actually have an idea of the company who we sell to at the moment. But yeah, all they would do is go, oh yeah, we got a massive list. We can then buy My Fairy Pen Pal and then just sell to our existing list with My Fairy Pen Pal type stuff. So that's who we would buy. Very much like dollarshaveclub.com. I think within the space of 5 years or something like that, they from scratch they sold it to, I think, Unilever, or is it Gillette? One of those two for like $1 billion or something like that. And that's because Dollar Shave Club had a huge subscription of blokes that had a razor on subscription, and then I think it was probably Gillette that bought them out, and then they could start selling Gillette stuff to that user base. So does that sort of answer your question, Adam?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Thanks, mate. Exit strategies excite me a lot, so that's a good answer. Thank you.
Yeah, it's you basically need a bunch of different people to replace you. That's the short answer to it. Bijan, sorry, is it Bijan or Bijan? I'm so sorry, mate. On Facebook says, let's say hypothetically the Great Reset. Oh my God. Okay, this is not about. Okay, yeah, sorry, mate. I'll have to wait another day. We're just going to keep this on track today with subscription-based stuff, not Great Reset stuff. You've got another question. You say his question is, you say subscription-based businesses have a lot of net worth and value once you have regular, loyal subscribers. But to what extent is that value based directly on you as a person? I think, we sort of covered that. The real estate trader and the WAP's value revolve around me. If you die tomorrow, then the bulk of subscribers might not want to be with RT, blah, 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 blah. I think that we just talked about that. So, again, like with the WAP, all I would need to do is get a whole bunch of different business coaches and advisors on board, for the client support type stuff. So, and I think terminology here is also very interesting. Clients and customers are two very different people. Whereas I think everyone in general says customer just as a default. A customer is someone that does a one-off transaction with you. No loyalty, no nothing. It's just a one-off transaction. So, So anything you just do a one-off transaction with, like I'm always served adverts on Facebook and I buy most things. I'm just a customer. I'm not a client. A client is someone that does a regular transaction with you. And so as a business, you want clients, not customers. And even if you have a business which isn't, client-like based, you need to do things where you can turn a customer into a client. So, for example, if you're, a car garage, for example, it is tricky to get clients because some people, if I had a car issue, I'd then go to a garage. It's only because I got the issue. So, if you had a garage, it would be in your interest to do something like, I don't know. What would I do if I had a car garage? I guess the loss leader I would have is an MOT. So what I would probably do is go, how much? In fact, does anyone know how much is an MOT? I haven't actually had one yet because Teslas don't need it really.
Seems to start at about 35 quid depending on where you're going nowadays, time.
Thank you. Great answer. 35 quid. Okay, so what I would do is I would say, hey, this is Siam's car garage in Norwich, and for £10 a year, you can do a £10 per year MOT. Done. So Jason said 45. Yeah, I would massively undercut it. I would use it as a massive loss leader. So I'd say, set up a direct debit of, actually not £10 a year, I'd set it at £1 a month. Yeah, there we go. So 12 quid a year. And then I get loads of people paying £1 a month. And so when it comes round to them needing an MOT, guess what? They're going to be, I'm going to make use of my 12 quid. They're going to come and do the MOT. And I can imagine that a percentage of MOTs then lead into other car service work. You need new tyres. Oh, you need tracking, realignment. Would you like nitrogen in your tyres instead of oxygen, air? Or, stuff like that. I don't know what that conversion rate is, whether it's 50%. I mean, the dodgier the garage, the higher the conversion rate there, no doubt. But whatever that, and then, so I would use MOTs as a subscription-based thing, get, 100 people, 1,000 people on a direct debit. Then you know that those people are going to come to you for your MOT, and then, it's just a numbers game. Bit as I mentioned earlier today, Pret a Manger, they've set up a coffee subscription-based business. So I think they're charging £25 a month for unlimited coffee, or a maximum of 5 coffees a day, which is clever on them, especially in these days where the high street is absolutely dead. They want a way to shore up cash flow. So if they can get a whole bunch of their client or their followers or their clients to buy that, they know that they'll make money because some people abuse it and get 5 coffees a day, but most people won't, and so they know they're making profits. Especially as a coffee really costs them like probably 10 pence, 10, 20p, and they're selling them for whatever. So they're going to make money, and that's a way that they can add extra business value because they'll have a little tiny, teeny weeny subscription or recurring revenue, but they will also know their conversion rates. So if someone has a 25 quid a month subscription for coffees, let's say that they're losing money on the coffees, which they won't be. What percent? If someone comes in to get that coffee, they're gonna get a croissant with it, or a chocolate, or some crisps, or lunch. So so they're always they know they have a back end upsell, which is other food and stuff. So it's clever. I mean, more coffee shops should do it. Any business can add in a subscription bolt on. Or payment plan bolt on, any business. In fact, does anyone here Can anyone here think of a really hard business to add on a bolt-on of some sort? And hit me. I'll probably fail, but I'd like to give it a go.
Window washer.
Oh, easy. Yeah. No, a window washer. It would be like, I don't. Who do we pay? We did have a window company. I forgot. See, that's the thing. We had oh no, I've just remembered it. You just say, hey, for £10 a month, I'll come around and do your windows every quarter or something like that. It'll be something like that. And then whilst you're there doing the windows, you'll be like, oh, whilst I was up doing your windows, I can see that your gutters are screwed up or whatever. Would you like your gutters cleaned as well? You always need a back end. But I wouldn't just like bullshit. Like as you're up there cleaning the windows, have a little pole with like a camera on a big stick, basically. And so whilst you're there, you can also take video footage of all the gutters and roof stuff and whatever. And so once you've then done your window cleaning, you go, hey, all done. Oh, by the way, here's a quick video of your gutters. You probably need them sorted out. I can do it whilst I'm here, or I can come back, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that's that. Aaron has said tattoo business. Oh, okay. That is a hard one. Tattoos are interesting because not everyone is going to get every square inch of their skin tatted up. So there is a very limited amount of real estate that you have to work on.
Do people get more than one tattoo is the question.
Yeah.
And if yes, then when they get the first one, could they start paying towards the second one?
Yeah, exactly. You could do perhaps a whole consultation and saying, look, if all is good and you like us and our artwork is obsidian style, well, this is his thing. What is your total vision of what you'd like on your body? And they'll go, oh, eventually over the years, I'd like 5 tattoos here, blah blah blah. And so then you could quote them up on all the tattoos they'll need over the next 5 years or whatever, however long they want to do it, and go, right, this is 10 grand's worth of stuff. Would you like to pay 10 grand's worth of stuff over the next 18 months or whatever? Or just every month. And if you can do that and give them a bit of a discount because they're paying every month towards it, then you've got some sort of cash flow. But yeah, again, that's a tricky one. That is a tricky one. Brian Marcel. So, Brian, good to see you, mate. So I have to give a shout out to Brian. So Brian is one of the few business owners out there I genuinely respect. That came out really snotty. I respect lots of different business owners, but I do massively look up to Brian. So Brian has said, yes, my barcode business, working on it now, Siam. So just to give it a bit of context, Brian Marcel, he has a really good book out there, by the way. Brian, what's the name of your book again? Off the top of my head, I forgot the title of your book. It's worth getting, folks. Brian is literally probably the world's leader of RFID chips, especially in Europe, and to the point where I think your business is probably worth 9 figures or something like that. Like, Brian is the real deal, folks, and a lovely chap who also has a Tesla. So all the best people have Teslas. So Brian, I'm just going to put my hands up and say, look, I'm too small fry for you. I have no idea how you would create a recurring revenue business for your business, because what is your revenue, mate? Probably like 100 million a year or something crazy like that. It's out of my league, mate. I'm sorry. we need to get tips from you, not the other way around. So check out Brian Marcel if anyone has some spare time. I'm just going to scroll down. What's the name of your book? Oh, that's it. Raise the bar, change the game. So Brian, on Facebook Live, unfortunately you can't speak to me. However, if you're on Clubhouse, you can find me, follow me on Clubhouse, and then you can do it. Oh, there we go. So Brian's revenue is 50 million a year. So he's got a proper chunky business there. So that's that. Okay. Anita said t-shirts with tattoos. Okay. Oh, that's actually an idea. So I actually saw an advert of these stickers. I think it's like henna tattoos, but I think it was a subscription-based business. I think this business was giving out these sort of these stickers, these tattoo stickers, and the tattoo lasted a month. And every month, the person could choose a type of sticker or what tattoo they wanted. So instead of being permanently scarred, so to speak, they could have a new tattoo every month. I thought that was pretty cool. Jason says, just had ours upsell gutter cleaning. Good. Smart window cleaner there. Sam is a nutritional chef. So yeah, the way that you would do it is basically, I would do like cooking videos. So you have your own little portal and then have, cooking videos and stuff like that. It's really annoying. So I've got a Thai restaurant. Well, it's a family business. And I've always, like, I know I'm biased because I grew up eating this food, but it is literally some of probably the best Thai food you will ever eat. It's called the Thailand Restaurant in Norwich. And the two chefs there are exceptional. And they've both been with us for, talking about staff loyalty, both of our chefs have been with us for about 25 years. They're so good. Like, I grew up with these chefs. They're amazing. And I've always wanted to film them as they cook every single dish. That's a whole, that would be a great, sort of way to get loyalty to the restaurant, but also a tiny income stream. Like, you could say, hey, we have literally every dish in the restaurant. Here is a video and, recipes and everything for every dish in the whole restaurant, and you can have access to it for, I don't know, £1 a month or whatever. There's all sorts of stuff. Okay, so yeah, let's get back to the title of this. So, pros and cons of subscription-based businesses. So, cash flow forecasting is the other pro to this. So, if you have a payment or let's just say recurring revenue type business, cash flow forecasting is really it's so much easier than if you had a one-off sale type business, because you can say, like, right now I could look in one of my businesses and go, right, how many subscribers do I have? I've got X amount of subscribers. Cool. And then you'll know what the average profit per customer is, per subscriber. So let's take My Fairy Pen Pal. Right now we have, I think, 420 clients. And I know that the gross profit per client is £11.56. So 420 times 11.56. So bear in mind, this is just a small part-time business that my wife and I are doing, doing whatever the WAP teaches. So within the space of a year and 2 or 3 months, it's chucking out 4,863 GP, and net profit is probably going to be about 4. So we know what's coming in, and hell, you can then look at your spreadsheets and go, right, you'll know which days your money comes in. But at the same time, that's also that can also be a con, which I found in the past, because if you have a recurring revenue business, people are joining your company, or your service, whatever, throughout any day of the month, and so you don't have all payments coming at in one big chunk. And so one cash flow issue I had years ago is that all of my outgoings are going out on the 1st of the month, but the chunk of all the money was coming in on like the 15th of the month. And so I was on this weird merry-go-round where I'd continually borrow money from another business or another one of my businesses to pay all the bills, going out on the 1st of the month, and then I pay all, and it was just this horrible merry-go-round. So you do need to sort of massage your cash flow, if that's that. Or if you're using Stripe, it gives you the option to go, hey, would you like all your payments, on this date or twice a month or whatever. So yeah, but I personally prefer to get the money ASAP. I don't want Stripe to hold my money until a certain date. It's much better for cash flow if you just get the money ASAP. It still takes like 4 days to get money into your bank. Dan Palmer, best Thai restaurant I've been to outside of Thailand. Oh, Dan, thank you. So, any other questions? Oh, Aaron said, we do something very similar and then offer finance to do it instead. Okay, word of warning. You must not do any form of payment plan past 18 months. Otherwise, you then land smack bang in FCA territory, as in the Financial Conduct Authority, because then you need to be a regulated entity. So 18 months is the max, I think. It keeps changing, but just don't. Yeah. So just rule of thumb: don't have payment plans more than a year, just to keep it nice and simple. So any other questions here on Clubhouse? Anyone want to put their hand up? Carmel, do you have a recurring revenue part of your business? I don't know if you want to talk. Don't worry if you don't. No? Okay. Yeah, any questions, please just pop it in. Okay, here we have a hand popping up. Hey, Carmel. Okay, so context. In fact, you are the best person to talk about your business. So in like 30 seconds, what is your business and what is your sort of what is your recurring revenue stream, Carmel? Oh, I think you have the mic. I'm pressing the button that says you have the mic. Oh, here we go.
This is my first time. I'm a Clubhouse virgin.
Hey, we love virgins. Sorry.
Yes, yeah, it's good. I'm loving it. I'm trying to sort my room out while I'm talking. There's really high volume photography. So we dance school photographers. We did do 300 dance schools a year up until a year ago, and school photographers. So we're quite high volume there. We've also do commercial photography, film, and we've got a studio, which is kind of the bulk of our income does come from schools and dance schools. So the recurring subscription model, I kind of want to try and get it going a little bit with film, but because it's not the core of our business, I haven't concentrated on it. But I would like to grow it because our schools come back to us, our dance schools come back to us, and they're our clients. Then we've got customers who have no choice really in where they buy their photos because the school chooses us, not the customer, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, I think film. I think there's scope there to potentially, people to do regular content, but not really without the bulk of our business, or maybe just making our customers more sticky, I guess, and doing value add things there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have to say that yours is a slightly trickier one to do because, as you said, you're going for the schools, and obviously, getting schools as clients is really tricky. I found that with some. It's because you don't have one decision maker, and what I found is that it's like a merry-go-round of decision makers in schools. It's like you win one person, and they go, oh yeah, I just need to get approval from the board or the governors or whatever, and then so. The
governors are tough with the trust as well because we lost the schools contract, 5 schools in the trust because the governors got 3 school photography price lists and just went with the cheapest, even though all the schools were really happy with us. So it's challenging, but it's a good one to get, and they're also quite unlikely to change once you get them as well, which is good. So, but yeah, the subscription model is not as easy for them, but that's the key, so we're kind of okay.
Cool. Oh, nice. Oh, it's good to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm loving you. I'm trying to catch up every day with you. I'm loving these chats, so they're brilliant. So thank you.
Sweet. Thank you. Cool. So,
right.
Yeah. Thanks. Does anyone here have any other questions? Anything to add? Any pros and cons that we haven't covered? I'm sure there's loads. Yeah.
I think only to add, it's kind of implied in the title, but it's the nature of subscription is it's both, there's pros and cons to it. Because it's all good and well, like you alluded to, that once you get a customer, great, you can see there's some intrinsic value there and you can get higher valuations. But on the flip side, if you haven't got the right kind of service that there's a need or reason to retain them, you're going to be in a vicious cycle of finding it harder and harder to grow your base unless you've got, like in your situation, great marketing funnels and things like that. So it's one of these things where if you're creating a subscription-based business, it's about creating additional product services to make those customers stickier to your original product.
Yeah, and what you'll find is that nearly always your front-end product will not make you rich. Or hell, it won't make you much profit at all. So you absolutely need a back-end. And this is why, I don't like the whole self-help world anymore. I used to, but I'm very jaded these days. Just simply because my bullshit detector is so more tuned these days. And like, I mean, hell, you see all these people say, hey, set up a subscription-based business, it's going to be amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then you see the standard, product ascension sort of thing where people get the people onto like a free thing, then it's like a $2,000 upsell, then it's a $10,000 upsell, then it's a $20,000 super mastermind in the, bloody Balearic Islands or whatever like that. And it's like constant upsell after upsell. And a lot of companies in this space treat their clients like cattle. And that's the thing I don't like. That's where I think people have gone too far. And it's just like, right, we've got get the sheep in, get the cows in, and how much can we squeeze a person out of their money? And I think they're working backwards. It's like, right, I want another product that makes X amount per month or whatever, and they'll just try and like force stuff into it. And I don't know. I'm quite jaded when it comes to this because I've seen and I've dealt with lots of dodgy operators. I've set up JVs with people and then I've just walked away from the JV, left lots of money on the table just because like integrity and values and ethos is more important than an extra $10,000 a month or whatever. So going back to the first point I was trying to make is that you'll need a back end, and that's because the cost per acquisition is just so high. So high. So for example, if you take one business I've got where it's basically six grand a year or 4,800 quid a month a year. Okay, so let's call it $5,000. Now, in order to get a customer, it costs me at least 2.5 grand with that business. So basically half of all the the price. So it's basically I need people to last for at least 6 months just to break even with that business. But it's a year contract, so it's fine. Like with a WAP, it cost me £50 to £100 just to get a free trialer, which is obscene. And the only way that the WAP works is because we have a 54% conversion rate, which is great. But all I want to basically say is that whatever your subscription product is, it's not going to make you the profit. It's the back end product that makes the profit. So this is why it's absolutely essential that you do have, let's say you have something which is 10 quid a month. You'll then need something which is like 250 quid a month or a $2,000 product, and it's that $2,000 product which actually brings in the profit. And unfortunately, yeah. So if you take the WAP, for example, the Wealth Action Plan, the original goal of that was to have the WAP at £7 a month or £8 a month, and then get like 10,000 people on it £7 a month. But because of how marketing is these days, I just couldn't make it work. It just would not work because it was costing like 100 quid or more to get a client. And if they're only paying you 7 quid a month, after the VAT, you're left with like 5 quid or whatever. So, people would have to be with you for years just to break even. And here's the other thing. This is something which is, I guess, pertinent to the WAP right now. It's all very well having, a sort of a lead-in product and then a hefty back-end product. But you need enough people up at the front end to make the back end work, if that makes sense. So the WAP is really, really small in comparison to some other of my businesses and stuff. I mean, if I look in the group, we've probably only got like 300 members, 400 members, something like that. Now, if I wanted to launch a back-end product like an incubator, in fact, the WAP will be launching an incubator at some point. If I launched it now with only 300 odd members, we'd probably only get like 3 people into it. Imagining we've got like a 1% conversion rate or something. So it's not worth the time and effort. So this is why with the WAP, we will be 10xing the amount of students up front. On the as a normal WAPper, and then later once our fishing pond is bigger, so to speak, then we'll give another product out there. But that's the way to make it work. So Jason has said, when setting up subscription, how do you balance pricing over to high and losing people versus to low and squeeze on margins? What % margin do you think you need to make subscription basis viable? I'm not quite sure I understand that, but I think what you're basically said, I think I've already answered it. Your product most likely is not going to make you any money. It's going to be a loss leader. If you're lucky, it's going to be break even. It's that back end product. So, yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Oh my lordy, it's 45 minutes. Yeah, I still haven't done a half an hour wealth gen chat yet. I just go off on one. Yeah, let's call it a day there. Oh, by the way, this is a heads up for next week and moving on. These chats will not be done at 4 p.m. anymore. It's just because I have to do all the baby stuff at like 5 o'clock and I just don't have enough time to make the videos and edit it. So we're going to be doing these at 12 o'clock from now on. Whether that's going to be handy or not. But yeah, from now on, as of Monday, it's going to be 12 o'clock every day. So hopefully that helps. If it doesn't help, these recordings are always uploaded to my YouTube account. So have a look at my YouTube channel. And yeah, for those that spoke today on Clubhouse, thank you so much. Very much appreciated. And I guess I'll see you all on Monday. Righty ho. Have a good one all. Bye bye.
Cheers, Siam.
Toodles.